Alrighty. Just been out looking at the jungle and whatnot. I was going to go down there and light that wood heater thingy. You can't hear it very much now, but out there the wind is just ridiculous. I wouldn't even get it lit. And I'm talking, I wouldn't even get it lit with a butane stove lighter. It is just going berserk. I've got to do some washing. I'm getting a bit short on clothes, but I can leave that sort of till later on. This one here. I had a couple of logs there that were sort of on the wrong side of the stone fence, and I moved them out of the way, and one of them was covering over a part of the fence, and this was in between the rocks of the fence. Perfect condition, except the lid's a little bit rusty. It's amazing the lid's even still on it. This bottle is the property of Felton, Brimwade and Duodins Limited, Melbourne. And they got Hyperbol, Hypol, Hypol, written on either side. G43, some symbol, and then D22 in reverse on the other side. That's, yeah, stuff like that just keeps appearing. I'm going to show you, I tried to draw it on firewood sitting here before, and it sort of didn't really show up too well. So I'll show you how it all works. It's something I've noticed. I thought it was the case, and you can see it really well out there, and I reckon I can show it with the camera, but I'm going to have to turn the microphone off because I can't just stick my finger over the microphone because it's just far too windy, which is another strange thing that's happening this winter. Usually by now it's barely blowing a puff, and it's just been blown like hell, whereas usually it's just perfectly still in winter. Anyway, getting to the point now. House is here, pit's here, big water tanks there, little overhead ones there or whatever. There's a fenced off area. We'll put my little trees, so the almonds would be out around here somewhere. Now, this is where the, what's his name goes. I've got cypress pine here, cypress pine there, and the boxthorn is sort of like hanging over most of the pit and sort of comes up around here. Now you got your stone fence. Where I put my fence in, where the stone fence is very close together. You got a few cypress pines that are sort of here, but basically what happens once it gets along here, you get a stone fence, and you've got the cypress pines right behind the stone fence, and then you've got quite a considerable gap, and then you've got the boxthorn. Now, only at the point when it gets in the front of my bedroom does the boxthorn actually get to the stone fence and the cypress pines, and then it sort of comes back again. And then you just sort of continue along with these boxthorn, a huge big gap, and then the cypress pines with the stone wall right in front of them. And aside from this little patch that comes out, the boxthorn that comes right out to the stone fence, all of this here is pretty much clear. There's a couple of trees that are leaning over that are dead. Smaller ones, not quite full size. And there's also overhanging branches from cypress pines. I'm going to have to cut those down. I thought I'd need a pruning saw. Let's face it, you know, I shouldn't really need to buy one just for this one blasted job. That stupid thing is just hopeless. That's all my lunch for work. I went and bought a whole heap of tin food. So I don't have to buy takeaway food and whatnot. And I don't have to make lunch either. And it's not going to go rotten on me if I sit it in my bag for a week. Anyway, there's this giant gap. You could probably literally drive a frickin' semi-truck up there, in between where the cypress pines are and where the boxthorn is. Now, I want to go and clear all that gap out. I thought I'd need a pruning saw. I should be able to do most of it with a chainsaw. There's some that I've already cut. One I cut down years back, and there's some other trees that have died and sort of leaned over. We will need to tow those out, but basically once we get rid of this box thorn that comes right out to the stone wall, and we tow these few big logs out and a couple that are sort of, you know, hit the ground or about to hit the ground, plus a couple of the overhanging ones that will hit the roof of the tractor, we will have pretty much a clear run. Aside from, you know, just a few 2-inch sticks, you know, 2-inch wide sticks that you can kick one side of the fence or the other, we should be able to then basically put a fence in the whole way. And we only really need to get rid of the stuff that, technically speaking, comes to the edge of the house. Get rid of all that box thorn. We could actually, I'm not joking, put the fence in and complete the fence. And then, especially if it's getting to the point of equinox winds are coming, we could complete that fence and then pull this out this way. Now I had the idea that we'd build up to there, up to the corner of the house in one year and then stop. And then the next year continue building on after we pull this out. But I realised you can actually build the entire fence there and then pull that out another time. And yeah, if we get that fence in before the equinox winds, we can pull that out as it's windy or whenever, next spring, whenever. So yeah, that's one that I was, I've sort of realised. I can stand about here and I can see, and there's only just one little scraggly one that also comes up the stone fence. I mean, I literally just cut that out with a blooming reciprocating saw, but it's basically a clear run right to the front of the property where the border fence is, before, you know, it hits the road that I drive out on my driveway, sort of thing. So yeah, I'll go and show you guys a bit of this. I might just point to this stuff first, and then I'll hop inside here and I'll show you how far up it is and how damn wide it is there. Get the tractor in there without an issue, and that'll mean that we'll be able to sort of get out what box thorn we need to get out before, because I'm going to have a bit of a fence here too, so I want to piss all this off and then put that in, and should be able to just run right the whole way up. The reason I want to do right to here instead of before that is once we get the fence in, you won't be able to get a tractor up there. And so if I get to the front of the house, all this gets dragged out this way, and all this can get dragged out that way. And my driveway's here, and I've had a bonfire over the other side here at one point, and we can probably just drag it straight back to that same point and burn it again there. And yeah, so anyway, I'll go and show you guys this, and then I'll hop in and you'll see how far up it is until you hit these couple here, are literally just tiny little ones that are only about 6 foot tall, 5 foot tall, something like that, that I can cut out with the reciprocating saw, and that'll allow me to get right up to the very corner. And yeah, so I may actually be doing that today. I'm probably likely stuff that I couldn't really be bothered doing the washing. It's only 45 minutes to do that, so I'll probably hit that later on and wash out the stupid cat's bowl, and I'll get the chainsaw running and we'll slam into this. I've got plenty of fuel, plenty of bar oil, and about another blooming 3 or 4 chains, and yeah, we'll cut the damn lot out. And the idea also is if I cut some and it lands on top of the box thorn, as you're pulling it away with a tractor, you can go and take that off, or it'll literally fall off as you're pulling the box thorn out and hit the ground. Then we can deal with it at that point, sort of thing. But I'd like to have everything pretty much arranged, because I probably should be buying a toilet system first, and I might be, but you know, as the weeks roll on, I reckon before this winter's over, I will, not before this winter's over, maybe only just a few weeks away, we might have all the
see how we go financially, but we might have all the materials for this. I've got a bunch of old roof sheets that are out there. They've been sitting out there, and yeah, I may actually use those. They're not quite tall enough, but see, if I build a fence here, the wind factor that's going to hit here is very low. There's not going to be much wind at all. I've still got, you know, cypress pine that sort of hangs out about there, just behind that tank, you know, and I'm probably going to use some of my old stuff. Instead of just sitting there for bloody years, I'm going to use that for something one day. Well, this is what I'm going to use it for, is one there, and maybe even, because the laundry's here, and there's other box thorns in here, and I'm going to try and pull those out as well, so it might even go right down to there. But all that doesn't get much wind. It's this side that gets the slamming. And today, and not all the time, but on occasion, it comes from this way as well. So the idea is that this stuff and that stuff is full-size sheets, brand new steel, it'll be fine, but this, might as well just make it our second-hand steel, because it's not sort of, it's not going to ever really face much wind, and that means if I have to get, you know, a sheet that's, say, I want to go about 9 or 10 foot tall, so if I have one that's like, you know, 7 foot, and then the last 3 foot I rivet on as another sheet, it shouldn't be too bad, and that'll sort of make up use of some of what I've already got sitting around here, without just buying all this new stuff and having all this second-hand stuff still sitting there. Alrighty, as you can see there, aside from a handful of little tiny squirt ones, which I'd rather hook up to the tractor and pull out by the roots anyway, if need be I'll just cut them off with a reciprocating saw, but they'll sprout back if I do. I walk most of the length of that. The ones where you could see the chimney, that's the wood heater chimney. And that's the ones that I was pointing out near my bedroom that go right out towards the rocks. And then I walk from there right up to the front of the bloody property. I have only actually managed to do that once before. Yeah. But, you know, I could walk the whole way there. And, yeah, it's, as you've seen, it's, holy smoke, there's a shitstorm of little crap. But I'm going to go through, cut all that out, drop it to the bloody ground. The only ones I probably won't touch majorly, well, I'll probably trim them, but won't actually cut them up into logs, is those ones that had hit the ground or almost about to hit the ground that have got to be towed out anyway, because I sort of, I'd rather get to playing with logs later when I need the logs. And I'll just deal with all the small stuff, and there's likely in all that I'm going to have a major raking session and make a bonfire. If that bonfire gets burned this winter or not is debatable. And having said that, I probably will go ahead and do it. You know, all these walls in here that I'm supposed to be putting plaster on, it's not raining now. You know, so I'm trying to do all this outside stuff. And I can put the plaster walls up inside here and a couple of palings on the back of this one, which is showing up surprisingly well compared to usual. I've got all little palings that should cover that, or at least this other side here where the bookshelf is. You can do that when it's raining, in winter, in summer, in autumn and spring, it doesn't really matter. But while it's not raining, I always try and make a go of what I can do outside. And I think, although I've heard reports of rain elsewhere, I think we're free of rain for the day, which seems to be happening quite a bit. It isn't great for grass growing to rain everywhere else except here, but hey, you know, I can keep working on stuff outside as opposed to play around with drywall that doesn't really have quite the same sense of achievement. And as I said, you can do drywall anytime, but you can only do outside work when it's not raining, and when it's not raining, I'm doing as much outside work as I can. Anyway, I've got to find where I put my flaming earmuffs, and I've got to go over to the on-grid house where I've been having showers, because most of my clothes are over there. I want to run the dishwasher as well, and then, yeah, I'll just get on with all this stuff here and actually run the washing machine later on, but the dishwasher probably should be ran as well over there, because I've been microwaving a bit too much meat, and there's a lot of fatty plates and a couple of my pots around here that I should take, probably that one, and deal with all that, and then load her all up. I think I left my earmuffs over there too, and get rolling. Well, I didn't bother going and dealing with the dishwasher and playing around with the thing. I thought I can do that when it's dark. Wash the clothes and run the dishwasher and all that stuff. I thought I'd better get into this while it's light and while it's not raining, and I am surprised to say it took no time at all. There's still a couple of little bits. I might go back to some of those big logs and trim them. One of the big logs I did actually trim, one of the flax trees. There's another one I might just have a pick through and see if some of them need trimming. But the vast majority of the overhanging stuff is all gone in the space of 20 minutes or so, I think. Okay, maybe a bit more, maybe 30 or 40 minutes by the looks of the clock. But hey, you know, all done. I mean, we're 40 minutes, and that included fueling up the chainsaw and playing around, and yeah, got rid of stacks of it. There's one or two bits also I might trim just in where the jungle was here. There's a couple of ones that I know they're going to go anyway, so I just think do it now sort of thing. While I've got the chainsaw fueled up and all that. I've still got it sitting out there on the rock fence because I want to show you guys something, and it's quite remarkable. As you know, there's a vine that goes through some of this, particularly out where the pit is, and that vine goes bloody berserk. That's the one with all those little lumps hanging off it. They're like tubers that reseed themselves. In fact, the base of every leaf stem is actually a tuber. So they're chronic reseeding themselves, and we may have some issues with that if not raked up correctly, or sheepies stand on it and push it in the ground and effectively plant some of it. Which in the summer, when it's very dry, the ground is exceedingly hard, and you can't just stand on and push it in. But in the winter, yeah, you can. You can just about plant them by just standing on them. And doubtless, I've actually seen, I've never seen it before, I've never seen where these things go into the ground, and I realise beside the pit, just in the box thorns, just in there, it's not even really under the box thorns, there is a part where it goes in the ground, and it's like a whole cluster of tubers as it goes into the ground, like almost like as though potatoes coming up from underneath the soil sort of thing, pushing themselves up from underneath. That's sort of what it looks like where it comes out of the ground. But because there's got to be so many under the ground, they just keep resprouting until you dig the ground up at least 6 inches deep. I think it's actually might even be a foot deep. I do know the measurement. They don't plant themselves real deep, but I think it's at least 6 inches, if not 12, that you got to skim. And the other thing is there, you just let them all grow back and keep the area fenced off temporarily with a bit of shitty old fencing wire and a couple of star pickets or white posts or whatever you want to call them. And then you spray it all with herbicide, and they are very susceptible to herbicide, which is probably exactly the way I'm going to go. Just fence it off. I mean, there'll be a fence around one part of it, but I'll just whack up a crappy old temporary fence on the other side, and put the backpack on one day and hit her up, and try and kill the lot that way, and then just see if any come back again. But that might, it's going to be something we're going to have to watch over the next couple of years after this is cleared. Anyways, what I was saying was, there's a bit, I don't think you can see it here. It's not that tree, but there's one over here that's sort of blocked by this thing here, and it goes berserk. The box thorn has actually climbed up in it. I've never even noticed it. All the bloody times I've walked past there, which is about 1,000,000 times water on those trees, I know the vine crawls, but one of the trees is almost like, it's got box thorn going up nearly 12 foot, and it's almost like the tree is acting like lattice work and the box thorn's curving up around it and hanging onto the damn tree, which of course the vine does, but not the flaming box thorn. So that's it looks crazy. And I haven't cut that one either because I was about to, and I thought, no, stuff it, I'm going to show you guys because this looks real intriguing. So I'll probably just stick my finger over the microphone, and we'll go out and have a look at that. I feel like eating something, so I might do that first, and then, yeah.